What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again, giving you guys another ranking. With the release of Incredibles 2, the highly anticipated Pixar sequel, it's a perfect time to give you guys my updated ranking of all 20 Pixar movies ranked worst to best. If you've not seen on my channel, guys, I created a new series called The Journey to Incredibles 2, where I reviewed all the Pixar movies I've not reviewed before and collaborated with many of my friends on YouTube. So if you haven't seen any of those reviews yet, go check them out in the playlist on my channel. Remember, guys, this is all subjective. These are my favorite Pixar movies ranked worst to best. I know we're going to have a lot of disagreements because Pixar has made great movies. Movies hit different people. These are my favorites, so please don't get offended. And let's have a great discussion down below. Let me know your guys' rankings down below of all 20 Pixar movies. And let's just talk about Incredibles 2 and all of Pixar. Coming in down at the bottom at number 20 is Cars 2. This is hands down the worst Pixar movie. Cars 2 is just an awful, shitty sequel to Cars that was totally unnecessary. This movie's biggest mistake was making Mater the main character and not focusing on Lightning McQueen and the racing elements, because that's my favorite part of the Cars trilogy, is seeing Lightning McQueen and the racing. But they focused on Mater this time and having a dumb, stupid James Bond spy plot. That's the main focus, not this World Grand Prix that Lightning McQueen is in. It's made for kids. It has shitty humor that doesn't connect with adults like me. So Cars 2 is the worst Pixar movie. It's really bad. Coming in at number 19 is The Good Dinosaur. This movie is one of the films that feels like the black sheep for Pixar. People forget that it's a Pixar movie because it came out the same year as Inside Out. It had a lot of production issues, and I can see why. The Good Dinosaur, it's not a bad movie like Cars 2. It has some good elements, like I love Arlo and Spot and their relationship they build together. But the movie has other side characters that are dull. The story is very predictable, bland, and cliche. You've seen before in The Lion King and The Land Before Time. But The Good Dinosaur, I can say, is the most beautifully animated film that Pixar has made. Photorealistic animation. The Good Dinosaur, it's one of the weaker Pixar films, but it's not bad. Coming in at 18 is Brave. This is the other Pixar film that feels like the black sheep. Like, it doesn't feel at all like a Pixar movie. Feels like a DreamWorks kind of How to Train Your Dragon movie. I love Merida. She's a great character. I really enjoyed her scenes. I thought she was a badass female protagonist. But the whole storyline with the mother turning into a bear really disintegrates the true tone of the movie, and it kind of left me off guard, and it took me out of the movie. Trying to go to the witch to try to break the curse to set her mother free of being a bear, I felt was really dull. The witch wasn't in it a lot. But Brave has some great animation, and it's a cool, creative Pixar movie that's just not one of my favorites. Coming in at number 17 is Cars 3. I think this film is not bad. It was actually okay and decent, but it's not great. There's some elements with the humor I found lazy. The first act has a lot of humor, but I appreciated this film for doing something different. There was less Mater, it was more lightning, and it's a typical sports movie like Rocky 3, the aging hero sports guy trying to build himself up. Cruz Ramirez is a great character. The start, Jackson Storm could have been better. But Cars 3, it's a decent Cars movie that's just not great. I enjoyed it. Coming in at number 16 is Cars, the first one. This movie, I would say, is the best in the Cars trilogy, but it's not that great. The Cars trilogy is the worst, but Cars has a good story. Lightning McQueen is kind of as a main character. He starts off as this cocky rookie that thinks he's all that, but then he finds himself in Radiator Springs and he learns a lot of how to be a better person. And it has Doc Hudson, my favorite character in the Cars trilogy. I want more Doc Hudson. He's a great character. Mater's in this movie a lot, which is really annoying and why I don't like the film that much. It had some great racing elements, Life on the Highway, Rascal Flatts, great song. But Cars is just overshadowed of the fact that this is a kid's movie that was made to sell toys. Coming in at number 15 is Monsters University, the only prequel for Pixar, the prequel to Monsters, Inc. This movie, again, it's not great, it's just okay, it's serviceable, but I really felt there was no need for this movie. I wanted a sequel to Monsters, Inc., But this movie had some cool elements. I love how Mike and Sully first met. Sully starts off as a cocky guy who everyone loves because he's a Sullivan. And this movie's main character is Mike Wazowski. I mean, Mike was great. Billy Crystal, John Goodman, always perfect. But this movie has a lot of cliches to the 80s college comedies, and it's also predictable. This is a prequel, of course. We know what's going to happen at the end. Coming in number 14 is Finding Dory. This is another sequel, just like Incredibles 2, taking over a decade to make. Finding Dory, it's decent. I liked Finding Dory. I think it's a solid movie. Dory as the main character wasn't as annoying. Ellen DeGeneres is great as Dory. Seeing Dory go on a journey to find her parents and overcoming her short-term memory loss. And Marlin and Nemo also join the adventure is great. I love the new characters. Hank's probably the best character in this movie. I love Hank. I love Bailey, the beluga whale, as well as Daisy, the whale shark. She's blind. She bumps into things a lot. But the biggest flaw to Finding Dory is that it doesn't have the stakes or the emotional depth that Finding Nemo had. Coming in at number 13, you guys will probably disagree. I know there's a lot of fans of this movie. That is WALL-E. I know. A lot of people love WALL-E, but I think WALL-E's the most overrated Pixar movie. I'm sorry. Don't get at me. Just my personal opinion. WALL-E, I don't think is terrible. I just don't think it's a masterpiece that people are praising it to be. WALL-E and Eve's relationship and the first 20 minutes of it, there's no dialogue. It's this cool, creative Pixar movie that I felt would have been better as a short film. That was the weakest part of the film, was the second and third act. But then once it gets back to WALL-E and Eve's relationship, it's great. Coming in at number 12 is, I think, the most underrated Pixar movie. That is A Bug's Life. I really like A Bug's Life. From 12 on, these are Pixar movies I find good to great. Flick, I think, is the most underrated Pixar protagonist. I love Flick. Dave Foley as the voice is great. Princess Ada, also great. And I think my favorite character is Hopper, voiced by Christopher Plummer. The movie does have a generic story, but I really like The Bug's Life. I love the circus performer Bugs. They're all great. Look at me, I'm a beautiful butterfly. I know some people are going to disagree with me with this next pick. I know Cody in particular. He loves this movie. I think it's a solid movie. I just don't think it's great. I think it's a tad bit overrated, but coming in at number 11 is Ratatouille. Whoa. Please don't come at me, guys. I enjoy Ratatouille. I think it's a good movie. I just don't think it's a masterpiece. Remy is such a great character. Patton Oswalt voices him fantastic. Linguini, they're a great combination together. It's a cool movie of Remy trying to prove that he can be a cook. He totally is honoring Gusteau's message of anybody can cook. Anton Ego is my favorite character in the movie. Peter O'Toole is the voice. Just the speech he has at the end is fantastic. But I think it's a little overrated just because of the story elements. I didn't find much investment in the family, didn't feel that tension. But overall, Ratatouille's a fun time. Brad Bird directs this film very well. Coming in at number 10 is a classic, Monsters, Inc. I love Monsters, Inc. Rewatching it again, it's just fantastic. John Goodman and Billy Crystal as Mike and Sully. The perfect combination. Seriously, one of the best duos in Pixar history. These two characters are great. If you didn't have great characters like this, then I think this movie would have just been okay. Boo and Sully, such a heartwarming relationship. The ending where Sully has to say bye to Boo, Kitty's gotta go, makes me cry every time. And it also has one of the best Pixar villains in Randall, a very mischievous, creepy villain who can vanish and disappear. This movie's just a lot of fun. Pete Docter directed it, and this is just a classic Pixar film that everyone loves. Coming in at number 9 is Up. I really love Up. Now, the reason why it's not higher is because I feel the third act is kind of weak compared to the first act of the movie. Carl Fredricksen is seriously one of my favorite Pixar characters. The journey he goes on in the first 10 minutes of this movie left me fucking heartbroken. When Ellie dies, the montage seriously is one of my favorite Pixar moments. It's absolutely fantastic, and we meet Russell, Kevin, and Doug, great side relief characters that go on a great journey with Carl. The guy wants to fulfill a promise he made to Ellie of flying their house all the way with a bunch of balloons to Paradise Falls. Very original Pixar movie. I think this is very original. Charles Muntz, who was kind of iffy on first, I actually like him more as a villain. Yeah, he's kind of dumb and stupid, but Christopher Plummer actually, as the voice, does well. It is very cartoonish with the dogs, sharks, talking dogs, flying planes. I found that ridiculous. Coming in at number 8 is the newly released Incredibles 2. I just saw this movie last night. No spoilers, guys. The reason why it's on higher is because I've seen it once, but I fucking loved Incredibles 2. This was well worth the 14-year wait. There was not one part of the film that I found boring or dull except for the villain in the Scream Slayer. Michael Giacchino scores epic. The characters, Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, Frozone, all great. The action in this movie is phenomenal. Incredibles 2, constant rewatches might be better than the first one. It's that freaking good. Coming in at number 7 is Toy Story 2. I love Toy Story 2. All 3 Toy Story movies are perfect movies for me. I have no flaws. But the reason why Toy Story 2 bumped down is because there's more movies I rewatch. It does everything a sequel should do. Thank God they released this movie in theaters and not straight to VOD, because it's fucking great. I love the road trip aspects of the movie where they go to Al's Toy Barn when Woody gets captured, and Buzz also facing off against his rival Buzz. Fantastic. And evil Emperor Zurg, who's like Darth Vader. But of course, we get introduced to the Roundup Gang. Jessie's the best character in the movie. Seeing her backstory when she loves me, so heartbreaking seeing Jessie's backstory. And of course, Bullseye and the villain, the prospector, Kelsey Grammer. You can understand why he's the villain, but I think he's really good. Coming in at number 6 is Coco. I absolutely love Coco. The more rewatching it, the more I love it. Such a great movie, well created, about a boy named Miguel who has a passion for music, but his family wants him to get rid of music in his life. It's a curse in their family, and he goes on a great adventure. Coco's heartbreaking, especially the ending with Mama Coco. My God, Remember Me, thank God it won the Oscar for Best Original Song. And the music in this movie is fantastic. The animation is one of the best looking Pixar movies. Coco's a lot of fun, but it's also heartbreaking, so that's why it is number 6 for me. Coming in at number 5 is The Incredibles. The Incredibles is what started off the great animated superhero movies, and Brad Bird directs this film fantastically. The characters are great. It's the best version of a Fantastic Four movie you're gonna get. And it has one of the best villains in Syndrome. Great character. This movie's action-packed. One of the best scores of all time. Waited so long to make Incredibles 2 with that ending, but this movie is just action-packed and fun and a total blast. Coming in at number 4 is Inside Out. I fucking love this movie. Pete Docter once again nails it with this film. It's a very original film about Riley, a girl with different emotions growing up. And seeing all the emotions here are great. Joy, sadness, anger, my favorite. Disgust and fear all work Riley's brain. And this movie has a lot of intense stakes when Joy and Sadness get separated and they have to try to get back up to headquarters to make Riley happy again. We don't want to see Riley angry or sad, but this movie dives deep into emotions. Inside Out is heartbreaking, but also a great fun film. And Bing Bong. Bing Bong. Coming in at number 3 is Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. Just keep swimming, 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 swimming. Finding Nemo, fantastic film. Andrew Stanton, his best directed film. This movie is heartbreaking again, but it's a fun adventure, and it's really powerful. Just seeing Marlin do anything possible to find his son Nemo, and along the way he meets Dory, voiced by Ellen DeGeneres. Some people find her annoying, but I completely disagree. Dory's a great character, probably the best in the movie. We meet the 3 sharks, Bruce and them. Fish are friends, not food. Sure, dude! Gil, voiced by Willem Dafoe, the starfish, the blowfish, all great characters indeed. Finding Nemo is the best road trip adventure movie that Pixar has made. This movie's fantastic and emotional. Such a great movie. Coming in at number 2 is Toy Story 3, the greatest conclusion to an epic trilogy possible. Toy Story 3 delivered on everything. The characters going through their highest and highest of stakes, trying to get back home to Andy before he leaves for college, going to Sunnyside Daycare and going through a hell of a prison route. And it has one of the best Pixar villains in Lotso Huggin' Bear, such an intimidating, douchey, awful teddy bear, but you totally understand why. His backstory's heartbreaking. All the characters going through the highest stakes in the end when they're all in the incinerator holding hands together as they're about to die, and you're shaking, you're crying, you're on the edge of your seat, and they get saved. Why do you need to make a Toy Story 4? Why? Why? This is the ending we all deserve, and I'm kind of tearing up talking about this film. And of course, coming in at number 1, you probably guessed it since the start, it's Toy Story, the first one, the film that started it all in 1995, the year I was born. I love Toy Story. I've seen it so many times. I've played with all the toys. I've quoted the movie 1,000 times, and I just freaking love the film. It started off computer animation perfectly. Woody and Buzz, two of the most iconic animated characters of all time, going through this great adventure. They get stuck at Sid's house. They go to Pizza Planet. I love all the songs in there. You Got a Friend in Me, of course. And just the quotes of the movie. It's so quotable. The To Infinity and Beyond, Reach for the Sky. For me, it's my favorite Pixar movie because it's the most nostalgic, the most rewatchable, and just the most classic. So Toy Story is my favorite Pixar movie. There you have it, guys. That was my ranking of all 20 Pixar movies. Now, what are your guys' rankings of all 20? Let me know down below in the comments section. Thank you guys, as always, for watching this video. And if you guys liked it, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe today for more content. All my social media links are in the description down below. Click that notification bell on your way out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!